Next driver.
Okay, so if you're running a growing business, you probably know this feeling, right? You've got QuickBooks doing its thing for finance,
Mhm.
but then sales is using something totally different. Inventory data lives over here. Maybe operations is just tracking things on spreadsheets or yet another system entirely.
Yeah.
It feels really disjointed, doesn't it? Like everyone's kind of running on their own track. Makes it incredibly tough to see the whole picture or make quick decisions.
Absolutely. And that fragmentation, it's not just like inconvenient. It creates serious bottlenecks as you try to scale.
Right.
So our deep dive today, that's exactly what we're tackling. We've pulled together insights from quite a bit of source material, all focused on integrating QuickBooks, particularly QuickBooks Enterprise, with ERP systems and other specialized software.
Turning those disconnected bits into one powerful, unified system.
That's the goal.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is really to cut through the noise, pull out the most important nuggets from these sources, and help you understand not just what integration is, but really why it matters strategically, and, how it actually works to unlock that scalable growth we're talking about.
And I think you'll hear some things that might genuinely surprise you.
Yeah.
Like how businesses are finding integration can actually cut down operational costs quite dramatically. Costs you maybe didn't even realize were piling up.
Interesting.
Plus, getting that real-time visibility across the entire business, something that probably felt impossible before.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The core problem, it seems pretty clear as you scale. Those standalone tools that, worked fine when you were smaller, they start becoming a real liability. You end up with fragmented data. Nobody's quite sure which numbers are the right numbers. And these clunky workflows that depend on manual steps, double checking.
Endless reconciliation.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's usually where QuickBooks Enterprise enters the picture for these growing businesses. It's sort of designed for that middle ground, right? Small to medium-sized companies that have definitely outgrown basic accounting, but maybe aren't quite ready for a massive, super complex, top-tier ERP system across the board.
Okay.
So Enterprise gives you that deeper financial and operational control. We're talking more advanced inventory management, much better user permissions, really robust reporting tailored for those more complex needs.
Got it.
But here's the key thing our sources highlight. Its full power, especially when you think about scalability, that's really unleashed when you integrate it effectively with other systems.
Okay, so QuickBooks Enterprise is like the powerful, detailed financial engine. But where does ERP software fit into this picture?
Right, so ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. The whole idea is for it to be that central hub for your core business processes. Finance, yes, but also things like inventory, supply chain, maybe even HR, project management sometimes.
Consolidating everything.
Exactly. It aims to consolidate these into a single unified system. So when you link your QuickBooks Enterprise financials into an ERP, you basically supercharge the operational visibility that the ERP offers. Because now it's tied directly to your financial reality. It really helps you move away from relying on all these disconnected departmental workflows and get towards a genuinely holistic view of the business.
So Enterprise handles the deep accounting, ERP manages the operational side, and integration is the bridge connecting them. Let's get specific, though. What's the tangible difference for a business owner day to day between running these separately versus having them truly connected?
Well, think about it this way. Running them separately often means data is just stuck in silos. Your sales team sees one version of a customer's history, finance has another piece, fulfillment might have something else entirely.
Right.
Integration breaks down those walls. Instead of someone manually transferring data or messing with spreadsheets to reconcile differences or waiting days for reports, integrated platforms synchronize data, usually in real time or pretty close to it.
Real-time data synchronization. That sounds like a pretty big deal. How does that actually impact the day-to-day operations?
Oh, it's huge. It means everyone is working from the exact same up-to-the-minute information.
Okay.
Imagine your sales team closing a deal and instantly seeing the current inventory levels.
Yeah.
No guessing. Or your finance team seeing the cash flow impact of a big order the moment it's confirmed, not days later.
Wow.
It just dramatically cuts down delays in decision-making, and it ensures the data you are using for those decisions is accurate, consistent, and immediately accessible across every department that's part of that integrated system.
And that kind of consistency must help with one of the biggest time sinks, right? Manual data entry.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Manual data entry is like a major source of friction
Ugh.
and errors. So many errors creep in.
Tell me about it.
Someone enters a sales order here, then someone else has to key it into QuickBooks. Maybe a third person updates an inventory spreadsheet manually. Integration just eliminates this duplication. Financial transactions, inventory updates, customer info, it syncs automatically between the platforms.
That's the dream.
It really is. And it doesn't just reduce the workload for your staff, so that's great. It dramatically streamlines operations and significantly boosts data reliability because you're taking human error out of that transfer process.
So less manual work, less time fixing mistakes. That sounds like a pretty direct cost saving right there.
It definitely is.
And that must lead directly to better financial management and reporting too.
Precisely, yeah. With integrated systems, your oversight just gets elevated. You can pull consolidated reports that actually combine financial data from QuickBooks with operational data from your other systems.
A complete picture.
Exactly. Which means, better forecasting because you're working with all the relevant info. Multi-department budgeting suddenly becomes much more realistic and grounded. And you can track spending and performance at a much more granular level, tying it directly to specific projects or operational activities. For those QuickBooks Enterprise users who really need that advanced control, this kind of consolidated, detailed insight is invaluable for making smarter resource allocation decisions.
Enhanced workflow automation is another big benefit that always comes up. How does integration actually automate things? Give me some examples.
Yeah, this is where you really start freeing up your team's time for more strategic work rather than just moving data around.
Right.
When systems can talk to each other automatically, those repetitive admin tasks can just happen in the background. Think about order processing.
Okay.
A customer places an order online or maybe with the sales rep. That can automatically trigger the invoice creation in QuickBooks, update the inventory count, maybe even initiate the shipping label process.
Smooth.
Very smooth. Or think about payroll processing. Time data coming in from an HR system or time tracking tool can automatically sync for calculation in your payroll platform, which then syncs the results back into QuickBooks.
That's a lot of steps.
A lot of steps. Automating these workflows boosts productivity massively, maintains accuracy way better than manual methods, helps with compliance, and crucially, lets you redirect your people away from just data entry towards actually analyzing information and improving the business.
That makes a ton of sense. And as a business grows, those manual steps and disconnected systems, they just become serious roadblocks, don't they? How does integration help a business actually scale effectively?
Yeah, growth always introduces complexity, right? More customers, more transactions, maybe multiple locations or sales channels.
It gets messy fast.
Exactly. And disconnected systems just can't keep up without throwing huge amounts of manual labor and therefore cost at the problem.
Right.
Integrated systems, though, they're kind of built for this scaling challenge. They allow businesses to stay agile, to adapt more quickly to new demands.
How so?
Well, say you decide to launch a new e-commerce store, or implement a new CRM system, or even open another warehouse. Integrating those new tools with your existing financial and operational backbone ensures everything stays connected. Data flows smoothly from day one.
Oh, I see.
It ensures your systems can actually scale with your business goals rather than becoming the thing that holds you back.
Okay, so if someone's listening and nodding along thinking, all right, integration sounds like the answer I need, how do they actually do it? What are the different ways to approach this, the solutions out there?
Yeah, the sources are pretty clear. There's no single magic bullet. Success really depends on choosing the right approach for your specific business needs, your existing systems, and, frankly, your technical capabilities.
Makes sense. And what are the main methods that people typically use?
You generally see three main paths. First, there's what's called native integration.
Okay.
This is where some ERP platforms or other apps are actually built with pre-existing connectors, specifically designed for QuickBooks. If one of your key systems already has this, it can often be the quickest way to get set up.
Convenient.
Definitely.
Right.
Then you have third-party tools. These are basically specialized platforms, sometimes called middleware, that sit between QuickBooks and your other applications. Their whole job is to automate the data flows.
Like translators.
Kind of, yeah. Examples you might hear about are platforms like Zapier or Onezas or Soligo. They often have libraries of pre-built connections for lots of popular business apps.
Gotcha. And what if a business has a really unique needs or maybe even homegrown custom systems?
That's where the third option comes in. Custom API development.
API.
Application Programming Interface.
Yeah.
QuickBooks has one, which basically provides a way for developers to build custom, tailored integration solutions. This gives you the absolute maximum control and flexibility to handle proprietary systems or really complex, unique workflows. The trade-off is it usually requires more technical expertise and a bigger upfront investment compared to the off-the-shelf options.
Right, custom always costs more. Now, beyond integrating with a full-blown ERP, the sources also talked about integrating QuickBooks with other specific types of systems pretty common in growing businesses, like point-of-sale systems for retail.
Oh yeah, absolutely crucial for retailers. Connecting QuickBooks to your POS system creates truly unified retail operations. It syncs product availability, pricing changes, sales data, usually in near real time. This gets rid of those painful end-of-day or end-of-week manual reconciliation tasks.
Nice.
Plus, it ensures your inventory count in QuickBooks is always accurate, reflecting actual sales, and gives you immediate visibility into sales performance tied directly back to your financials.
Makes sense. And payroll platforms. That seems like another obvious one.
Huge time saver, huge error reducer. Integrating with dedicated payroll platforms simplifies things dramatically.
Yeah.
It ensures accurate pay, helps with tax filing and compliance, all by automatically syncing employee data, hours worked, payroll run results directly within QuickBooks. It just takes a massive administrative burden off both HR and finance teams and reduces the potential for costly mistakes.
And e-commerce platforms like
Yep.
Shopify or WooCommerce. So many businesses rely on those now.
Absolutely essential if you sell online. Integrating your e-commerce platform does a few key things. It keeps inventory levels accurate across your website and any other channels you sell on.
Super important.
Critical. It helps handle complex sales tax calculations and reporting by syncing that sales data correctly into QuickBooks. And it streamlines your whole order fulfillment process by automating the flow of order information from the sale right through to finance and shipping.
And customer data, too.
Yeah, enhances your ability to track customer data and buying behavior, and really just smooths out the entire workflow between making the sale and managing the money. Improves operational speed and customer satisfaction.
Okay, before we get into the nitty-gritty of making this happen smoothly, the source material made a point of distinguishing between integrating QuickBooks Online versus QuickBooks Enterprise. Can you touch on the key difference there? Why does it matter?
Sure. It really comes down to their typical users and the complexity of their needs. QuickBooks Online generally is aimed at smaller teams, maybe startups. It's cloud-based, relatively lightweight, great for essential accounting.
Simpler needs.
Right. And it often integrates pretty well with simpler e-commerce tools or basic automation platforms. QuickBooks Enterprise, as we've discussed, is for companies needing much deeper operational control.
Like the advanced inventory.
Exactly. Complex inventory, maybe multi-entity reporting, needing extensive coordination between departments. Because enterprise users inherently have more intricate workflows and need more granular control over their data and processes.
Okay.
Their integration needs are often just more complex, too. They might require deeper synchronization capabilities, more sophisticated mapping between systems, maybe more customization options to truly align with things like a full ERP or other advanced operational tools.
So the scale and complexity reflected in enterprise kind of drives the need for more robust, sometimes more custom integration solutions.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
All right, so integrating sounds powerful, but also like a potentially big project. How do businesses make sure it actually goes smoothly and they get all those benefits we talked about? The sources laid out some best practices.
Yeah, planning is absolutely paramount. You can't just, flip a switch. The very first step, critically, is to assess compatibility and business requirements.
What does that mean exactly?
It means you need to sit down and identify precisely what your current pain points are. Where are the bottlenecks? Where are manual errors actually happening most often? What level of data accuracy do you truly need across systems? What specific workflows do you really want to automate?
Defining the problem before the solution.
Exactly. Defining these expectations clearly up front helps you choose an integration path and tools that are genuinely compatible and actually built to solve your specific operational challenges, not just someone else's.
And you mentioned earlier it's not always a do-it-yourself kind of project.
Right. The sources strongly suggest considering working with an experienced integration partner.
Why is that so important?
Well, these partners specialize in this stuff. They understand how different systems talk to each other or don't talk to each other easily. They can help map your specific business processes onto the integration points, ensure the data transfer is smooth and accurate, and really tailor the strategy to your goals.
Avoid pitfalls.
Exactly. Using an expert can help you avoid costly data migration nightmares, minimize downtime during the switchover, and crucially, ensure long-term accuracy and compatibility as your business and your systems inevitably evolve. They mentioned companies like NX Driver, for instance, who focus specifically on bridging these kinds of systems.
Okay, data accuracy and security must be absolutely massive concerns when you start connecting systems full of sensitive financial and customer data.
Oh, critically important. You absolutely have to ensure data accuracy and security throughout the entire process and ongoing.
Makes sense.
We're talking sensitive stuff, customer records, employee payroll details, tax filings. That needs robust protection during the initial sync and continuously afterwards.
So what do the best practices look like there?
Things like implementing strong security measures. Role-based access controls are key, so only authorized users can see or modify specific data.
Right.
Using encryption protocols for data both when it's moving between systems and when it's stored. And conducting regular security audits of your integrated systems to monitor data integrity and check who's accessing what.
And always remembering QuickBooks is the core.
Yeah, it's essential to reinforce QuickBooks' role as the central source of accounting truth and make sure all those integrated data flows are feeding back into it accurately and securely.
And finally, once it's all connected, you don't just dust off your hands and walk away, right?
Absolutely not. You have to test and optimize.
No.
Thorough testing before you go live is completely non-negotiable.
What kind of testing?
Rigorous validation of the data transfer itself. Did everything move correctly? Are the formats right? Then test the complex processes end-to-end. Run payroll calculations and check them. Simulate POS transactions and inventory updates. Verify that your analytics dashboards, financial reports, even CRM workflows are pulling the right data and functioning exactly as you expect across all the connected platforms.
Catch problems early.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Testing helps catch errors before they impact the business. And then even after launch, ongoing optimization is key. You monitor performance, look for ways to refine workflows, and make sure you're really squeezing the maximum benefit out of the integration over time.
This has been incredibly insightful, really helpful. Let's try and bring it back to that big picture, sort of recap the why. Why is integrating QuickBooks, especially Enterprise, with ERP and these other platforms? Why is it such a smart strategic move for a growing business?
Fundamentally, it really boils down to creating a single unified system. Instead of finance, operations, customer data, all living in their own separate little worlds.
In those silos we talked about.
Exactly. Integration brings them together. And the impact is huge.
Yeah.
It doesn't just improve accuracy by getting rid of manual data entry and all the redundant work.
Yeah.
It enables you to scale much more efficiently because your core processes can actually handle higher volumes without breaking down or requiring you to just throw more people at the problem.
And that visibility piece seems key, too.
Oh, absolutely. The real-time or near real-time visibility you gain into your financials, into customer activity, inventory levels, operational performance, it's transformative.
How so?
It moves you away from just reacting to problems after the fact towards proactive decision-making based on current data. It improves your forecasting accuracy dramatically. And maybe just as importantly, it frees up your team from those mind-numbing, repetitive, time-consuming tasks that were probably holding them back from doing more valuable work.
Yeah. Our sources really emphasize that integration unlocks the full potential of QuickBooks. It turns it from just being an accounting tool into the central pillar of a really streamlined, data-driven business operation. Wow. This deep dive really clarifies it. Integrating your systems isn't just some technical IT project. It feels like a fundamental shift in how a business actually operates day to day.
It really is.
Unlocking the power of your financial data, providing that clarity you need for sustainable growth.
It's definitely more than just an IT upgrade. It truly acts as a catalyst for efficiency, for accuracy, and for much deeper strategic insight. Understanding these concepts, hopefully, is that first step for you, the listener, in figuring out if integration is the right move to modernize your operations and get that crucial real-time visibility.
And maybe here's a final thought to leave you with, kind of building on that idea of integration as a catalyst. If connecting all these systems really does free up your team from all that manual data entry, the error checking, the endless reconciliation, basically, all the data grunt work, what new strategic possibilities does that open up? What more valuable roles could people step into within your growing business? What becomes truly possible for your team when your data is finally unified, accurate, and easily accessible to everyone who needs it?